to pull it back all the way. Now maintaining a firm grip with your thumb on the hammer, release the hammer, and slowly drop the hammer all the way down. Then you close the loading gap back up, and you know that you have an unloaded Colt 22 Scout pistol. Now, let's move on to our next gun, which is a larger single-action revolver, but it is, in fact, a single-action revolver. This is a Freedom Arms 454 Casull. This is a very large hunting firearm, as you may expect, because it shoots such a very large caliber. You can tell, once again, that to keep this gun and to maintain the fact that it is unloaded, I'm going to keep the barrel pointed in a safe direction. I'm going to keep my finger out and away from the trigger area. And I've got to open up the loading gate first to look inside there. Now, I see that I do have an empty chamber there, but that doesn't mean all the other chambers are empty. So what I've got to do is look inside, and to do that, I'm going to have to half-cock the hammer. Once again, there's going to be 2 clicks here. You'll hear them on the microphone. 1, 2. Now, this allows me to rotate the cylinder. There's an empty chamber there, and there is a round. So now I want to eject that round. Once again, on a single-action revolver, it will have an ejection rod down here. You can use your index finger on your left hand is a good hand to use. Pull that back, and you'll see it will knock the round straight up out. And now I want to advance the cylinder. Let the rod down and advance the cylinder again. And here, I'll show you this over here on the camera side. Here it comes. And there is a good shot of the extractor rod. And now I know that, in fact, I have an unloaded gun. I'll go around and around there, and I'll make sure that there are no rounds in there. Okay, so I'll close the loading gate back up. I'm going to cock the hammer all the way. I'm going to maintain a good firm grip on it. I'm going to squeeze the trigger, and I'm going to lower the hammer very slowly. And I've got an unloaded Freedom Arms 454 Casull. Next up here is a Smith & Wesson 686 revolver, very similar to the Model 66. As you can see, these guns are very similar. The difference, of course, is the length, and there's a couple other internal mechanism differences as far as the way it's manufactured, but they look the same. The Model 686 fires a .357 cartridge. It's a 4-inch barrel on this particular gun. Once again, keeping the muzzle and barrel pointed in a safe direction. I'm going to turn over on the left side. Very similar release latch. Once again, push the cylinder release latch forward, reach through, open the cylinder, and then let the rounds drop right out or push them out like so. And this gun is unloaded, so I'll turn it up and put it down. All right, the next pistol here is a Dan Wesson 744 44 Magnum revolver. And the reason I want to show you the Dan Wesson firearm is because there is a different latch mechanism for opening the cylinder release button. It's a little different than it is on either the Ruger or the Smith & Wesson. You can see here, once again, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction, keeping my finger off the trigger. I'm going to turn it over on the left side of the frame, and the cylinder release button is not here, but in fact in front. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this down and reach through with my left hand and pop the whole mechanism out. And you can see here that there are 6 empty chambers there, and so this gun is unloaded. And now I can close it back up and put it down. Let's move forward now to some of our automatic pistols. The first pistol I will show you here is a Ruger. This is a Mark II Ruger with a bull barrel. It's stainless steel, as you can see. This Ruger is somewhat different than some of the other automatic pistols you'll find because of the position of the magazine release button. It is located at the bottom of the frame. Now, once again, I'm going to keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Can't say that enough. Keep my finger off of the trigger. I'm going to turn the gun over, and I'm going to look down here. There is, in fact, a magazine release button right here, and to open this, you depress it forward or just push back on it. The magazine will come out, and there it is. Now, you can, of course, do that upside down, too, and out it comes. And there are no rounds in there. Now, to look into the chamber of this gun, you can see there are 2 little pieces of steel sticking out here on the slide, the internal slide. I'll pull back, and I'll be able to look right down into the barrel here, and hopefully the camera will get you a good shot of that. You can see there are no rounds in there, and you always want to visually inspect the barrel to make sure there are no rounds in the chamber area. Let the slide forward, and I will drop the hammer, and the gun is now empty, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction. Next gun we're going to look at is a 1911 style 9mm pistol built by Star. Now, I say 1911 style because you've probably seen a gun look like this. Colt has manufactured the 1911 .45 caliber, which is this gun, for just about 90 years now. And this is the Star. This is a copy, but it shoots a 9mm cartridge. So let's look at the Star 1911 style pistol first. This is actually called a BKM star. First thing I want to do, of course, is keep my finger off of the trigger and away from the trigger guard area. Keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Turn it over and look on the left side here. There's a magazine release button. I will depress that button with my thumb. The magazine starts to make its way out. I can pull the magazine out. Now I want to go ahead and visually inspect the chamber, so I've got to grab here with my thumb and index finger, my left hand, and pull back and look inside the chamber. And you can see there are no rounds in there. Now for this gun, if I were to hand this to someone, a good way to do that is to actually get the slide back the whole way and put the slide stop up. And the slide stop is right here. And that way when you hand the gun to someone, it looks like this. And it's actually caught up on the slide stop, and it maintains the fact that you can look in there, and anybody who picks the gun up off the table, as soon as they pick it up, they're going to be able to look in there. They're going to see that there are no rounds in it. So this is a very proper way to hand a gun to someone with the slide already pulled back and basically locked back with the slide lock button there on the side. To lower the slide, I have to go ahead and release the button. I can just pull down on that or gently pull back on a slide, push down on the button, and let it go forward. Now this gun also has a hammer safety, a magazine safety. The hammer will not drop unless the magazine is placed inside the frame. So I can't drop the hammer manually. It's just going to stay up for these purposes here. If I wanted to drop the magazine, I'd have to put the hammer, I'd have to put the magazine back up into the frame and then pull the trigger. But I'll just leave it off for now. And that'll bring us to our next gun, which is this Colt 45 pistol. And this is an automatic pistol, as you can see, semi-automatic pistol, single action only. The way this works, basically, again, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction, I'm going to turn the gun over and I'm going to look on the left side of the frame, and we do, in fact, have a magazine release button here located on the left side. I can push that with my thumb, and out comes the magazine. Put the magazine on the ground, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction. I can go ahead and visually inspect the chamber area by grasping the slide with my thumb and forefinger, open up and look inside, and I'll see that there are no rounds in there. Now once again, this has a slide stop button, so I can pull back on the slide and push up the button with my thumb, and you can see how it catches the slide, and that way I can visually inspect and know that there are no rounds in the chamber here. This gun is basically empty, and it is now safe to be handled or to be stored or whatever else you want to do with it if you want to go to the range. To drop the slide, I'll have to go ahead and with my left thumb push down the slide stop, let the slide drop, and now I will just go ahead and squeeze the trigger, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction. And voila, the gun is now unloaded. One last 45 that I'm going to show you is a wide body, new generation 45. It's built on a wide body frame. It's basically the same gun, except it has a polymer frame, and it features a wider frame which carries more rounds in the magazine. I'll push the magazine release button right here. Out comes the magazine. You can see this holds 14 rounds. Same principle. Grasping the slide with my thumb and index finger, pull back, look inside there. I see that there are no rounds in there. I can go ahead and drop the hammer, and I have a safe pistol. Next gun I want to show you is this Ruger P85, and this will be our last gun of the day. It is a double action first shot and single action second shot from there on in. Basically, this gun the principle is the same. I'll keep my finger off the trigger area, keep the gun pointed in a safe direction, turn over, and again on the left side of the frame, you'll find the magazine release button, and I'm going to go ahead and just push this button straight down, and out comes the magazine. Put the magazine down. Now I'll go ahead and grasp the slide with my thumb and forefinger, just pull it straight back, and I can look inside there and see that there are no rounds in the chamber area. I know I've got an unloaded pistol. Drop that down. I can drop the hammer with the trigger, or I can use the decocking button, which is right there. And now I've got an unloaded pistol that is safe and ready to be stored. I cannot emphasize enough that whenever you pick up a gun off the table, no matter when you last touched it, if it was minutes or hours or days, always pick the gun up, keep it pointed in a safe direction, open up the action, whether it be the cylinder, you want to open it up and visually inspect it, or whether it's the slide on an automatic pistol. You want to drop the magazine, open up the slide, and look inside there. Always keep it pointed in a safe direction. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you have ascertained that it is in fact unloaded. That's going to avoid many accidents and